if you're looking for interesting chess games, it's hard to beat a Gukesh versus Carlsen matchup. World Championship challenger taking on the, former world champion, of course, the greatest chess player of all time by indication, of playing strength. But this game is also very instructive in its own right, and we see Carlsen already going for a little bit of a creative kind of Pierce twist. You might be wondering, why aren't you just playing a normal bishop g7? Well, then one can think about moves like bishop h6 at some point, and sort of make the point, okay, if you castle, like white's got the ready-made attack, but if you take on h6, well then your king can't castle, and that can also be a bit of a problem. As was shown in the very beautiful game between Kasparov against Topalov in Vaikanze 1997. You're not sure if you guys know of that game already, but it's a pretty fun one. So with b5, Carlsen just trying to discourage this plan of bishop h6, and that sort of explains a little bit of the play. h4, knight b6. Also notice that Gukesh is not rushing to castle long here. We're sort of saying, well, if I castle long too early, maybe I give black some, some counterattack with the pieces, as it were. But at this point, since you're not really going to castle short when you've played h4, this is why long castles was played. And I promise we will get to the, to the key position of the game a bit later. In fact, we're pretty close to it right now. Like, you could argue that some of these moves could have been played a little better, but okay, it's blitz chess. Like, in this position, for example, if you were thinking that, well, maybe you should just play the move knight c4 and, like, just get rid of white's bishop pair, well, congrats, you actually would have played it better than Magnus Carlsen, and, your position would actually be better. Because you've got the attack down the b file, and you've also got the weakness on h4 that you can really latch onto here. But Carlsen did it in the wrong move order with bishop to f8. And I'll be very impressed, by the way, if you guys do manage to find the blow for white in this position. But Gukesh did find this blow. If you do need more time to find it, you can pause the video and see if you can spot it. It's not the move rook g2, by the way. But the move rook takes g6 is a really nice idea. And let me ask you this, like, say your opponent plays rook g6, like, how would you defend against it? I mean, would your response be like a panic of, oh no, I missed it, like, woe is me? Or would you be thinking about it more like, say, one of the top defenders, like an Abdusatorov or indeed a Carlsen in this case, saying, well, okay, this happened, we can't turn back the thing, we can't take the genie back into the bottle, as it were, so how do we make the best of the situation in front of us? And here, Carlsen did not play move pawn takes rook, because then after king e7 to f5, your king is basically getting murdered with bishop g5. There's just no good way out of it here. Like, even if knight e5, still bishop g5 anyway. But, so you can't take the rook. Probably the best option for black, which is not what Carlsen played, but the best one's probably to actually go knight e5, where you give up the knight so that you can take the rook and have that sort of hidey hole for the king on d7. So, like, if f5, you're not worrying about, like, losing the queen to the pin anymore. I mean, white does still have very good compensation. Like, I think white is probably still going to be better, but at least it's more of a messy kind of position this time. Now, in the game, Carlsen played knight c4, which actually sets a little bit of a trap here, where what white should do in this position, and, if I had a bit more time, I probably would make this a puzzle as well, like if it was a private lesson, let's say. But what white should do here is he should play the move of bishop takes c4. And yeah, it means that after takes, you don't have bishop g6 anymore. But I mean, you're going to get there. Like, you are threatening bishop g6, and, if black does try to defend this pawn, you can kind of see it's a little bit of a fool's errand, let's say. Like queen g2, and you're just not able to get that third defender on the pawn. And, once white crashes through, gets in f5, like, you really are not feeling that black is up in exchange here, to put it mildly. Because black just doesn't have the development to back it up. But instead, Gukesh thought he could be quite clever and play the move of queen to g2. And you might be wondering, well, can't you just play knight takes e3 and win a free piece? But Gukesh's idea is he can then play rook takes e6. And then just go for this draw, basically, with king e7. Okay, technically it's not quite a draw, actually. Like, you are not limited to, like, moving back and forth, but actually you can technically give back the material and keep the game going in a bit of a weird position. But it turns out that Queen Shiro has a much bigger flaw than this, actually. Where what Carlsen realized is that you can play a technique known as the intermediate move. And the intermediate move is a very common blind spot, even among quite strong players. Well, Gukesh didn't see it in this game, for example. So if you can get good at it, you're going to be able to beat even some very, very strong opposition. And well done if you found the move knight d takes e5. So the point is that if white now takes a knight e3, rook e6 just doesn't work anymore because, well, you can even just take the rook and now you have the d7 square available that we cleared, which we didn't before. Like, that's really where the value of the intermediate move comes in. Like, it gives us an extra option that we didn't have previously, as it were. And in the game, white ended up sort of, licking his wounds and playing rook g3. But the problem is after the dust settles, once the pieces are traded, like, black is just up a pawn here. And if you play f5 thinking you're going to get counterplay, bad news is you've got bishop h6. You do the skewer and you just win here as black, basically. So in the end, black was able to consolidate the extra pawn and basically went on to outplay his opponent and win the game from there. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And as you can see, I'm doing a little bit of a different style, doing these kind of shorter, more like bite-sized trainings where we can just get the valuable lessons right away. And speaking of that, I'm curious to know, like, what was the main lesson or insight that you got from today's training on how to calculate like Carlsen? I get that, you can't reach Carlsen's calculating level with one puzzle, of course, but at least it gives you a taste of what he's capable of and some ideas that we can apply in our own games. And if you would like to take that next step and learn more from me, whether that's, for my free resources or through some of my paid material, you can use the links in the description to access all of that. Whatever the case may be, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, I'll see you in the next training. Take care.